President Joe Biden has unveiled a $1.8 trillion plan for American families. It would include free pre-K for all 3- and 4-year-olds and a monthly payment to families with children under the age of 17. Earlier this week, a Republican lawmaker released his own version of a plan for American families. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri has introduced the parent tax credit. It would give tax credits to single parents and married parents with children under the age of 13. The credit would be paid by the IRS. And our next guest recently wrote in an article that it was, quote, the most pro-family, pro-marriage, and pro-life proposal offered by a Republican senator in recent memory. And joining us now to talk more about this is Jon Schweppe, Director of Policy and Government Affairs at the American Principles Project. Jon, welcome back. Great to see you again. Let's talk a little bit more about this, why you feel so strongly about Senator Hawley's plan. What stands out the most to you, and why do you feel it's so beneficial?
Well, we've seen a lot of plans in recent months from Republicans to increase the child tax credit, to do something similar to what Biden's done with his child allowance, where, it would give $300 a month to families with kids per kid. This is ambitious. This is something totally different. This would be $1,000 a month to married families with kids, and then $500 a month to single parents with kids. So there's a built-in marriage incentive. This is something Republicans haven't tried in a very long time. Something very innovative and creative. And also, it's an incentive to have children. I mean, right now we're up against the Democrats who are trying to pass trillions and trillions of dollars in spending, targeting these programs. And Hawley's solution to that is, well, why don't we just give parents the money directly and allow them to make these choices and provide for daycare or preschool or whatever. So I think it's really innovative and it's creative, and we'll see if it's something that can catch on with the Senate GOP caucus.
Yeah, and as you know, last night, President Biden talked about his plan, the American Family Plan, which, as we mentioned, includes universal pre-K as well as other things like paid family medical leave and direct support for childcare for middle and low-income families. I want to get your thoughts on the president's plan and also how you think it stacks up to Senator Hawley's plan. And ultimately, whose plan do you think will win out?
Well, the difference here is that the president's plan is a government takeover of the family. It's about, giving this money to government institutions, to daycares, to, Head Start, these sorts of things, to bring kids out of the home and into government managed facilities. Where Hawley's plan is very much about choice. It's about giving this money directly to parents so they can use it as they see fit. And it empowers families. So very stark contrast here. The thing with Biden's plan that's really dangerous is that, it sounds really good. I think working families are struggling. They could use money. They could use help with daycare expenses and that sort of thing. But ultimately, what this is about, we know this. We've seen it from the Democrats. They're much more interested in indoctrination. They want to get those 3-year-olds, those 4-year-olds in as quickly as possible so they can start teaching them things like critical race theory and gender ideology and all of that. And, I think we have to be very worried about that as conservatives, as people who recognize, we want to teach our children the truth about the way the world is, not this woke, progressive view of the world.
Yeah, and Jon, I want to get your take on something else, switching gears just a little bit here. A new study from the Associated Press finds that births in 2020 were down more than 4% from 2019, and the expected baby boom during the coronavirus lockdown is more of a, quote, baby bust. What do you think about that? And any thoughts about what's behind the decline in birth rates?
Yeah, it's extremely concerning. I think that was something where many people thought, because of COVID, well, folks are at home together, maybe there'll be more babies. And that's not what happened. And we were already dealing with record low fertility rates. Now we're going to see, dangerously low, potentially unsustainable birth rates. So I think right now this is why, a lot of folks are small government. They don't really think the government should get involved in things like this. But we are, entering a civilizational crisis with these birth rates. And I think it's really important that we consider alternate options. And that's where something like Hawley's plan, or even something, a little bit more moderate, like the Lee Rubio child tax credit expansion. I think these are the types of things we need to look at to get people having kids again, get people having, getting married again, and try to get America back to where we need to be.
Yeah, John, we got to leave it right there. Unfortunately, great to be with you. Jon Schweppe, Director of Policy and Government Affairs at the American Principles Project. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.